Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
How's your day going?
Going good. Thank you again.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
Really, guys?
What? Jackson's always has those game ready.
Let's go!
Hey Bronco Nation, this is Boise State football wide receiver Ben Ford. I've had to face some setbacks on the field this past season, but toughness isn't about staying down. It's about getting back up. I am proud to represent Lithia Ford of Boise, where you can find the largest selection of Ford trucks that are built tough and, like me, handle the hits and keep pushing forward. Come check out the incredible inventory and competitive pricing at Lithia Ford of Boise. And when you buy here, you're not just getting a truck, you're supporting Boise State athletics and Lithia Ford NIL partnerships. Come see us at Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, and our major sponsors, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, RoadPaint.com, and the Blue and Orange Store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
All right, how we doing, Bronco Nation? Welcome on into Bronco Nation News here at BroncoNationNews.com. I'm in the Sun Cruiser Studios. My name is BJ Rains, and of course, we've got Mike Prater, Lithia Ford of Boise Studios there at KTIK, columnist with us at BNN as well. And you hear him weekdays 3 to 6 with Johnny Ballgame, Bob, the whole crew, Greg on Prater, and the Ballgame on Idaho Sports Talk. And Prater, we had our hour-and-a-half post-game show. And then I hurried out of town on Thursday to get away for a few days, get down with my family. So no show yesterday. So today you and I are kind of the first non-game day show, at least on BNN here, to try to figure out what the heck happened this year and where to go from here. I know you guys spent 3 hours talking about it on your show yesterday. But how you doing? And yeah, we'll figure something out here.
Yeah, let's solve the problems. We didn't quite have enough time to solve the problems yesterday. I wish I could tell you that we spent 3 hours, but we devoted a lot of yesterday's show to that other team that we don't talk about here on BNN, the Vandals, and what they did. So certainly a lot of left to talk about when it comes to Boise State basketball. But yesterday we did kind of have a mixture of Broncos and Vandals. It was kind of one of those weird days, the good and the bad, and all kinds of emotions. A lot of emotions in this valley when it comes to basketball the last 36 hours. But, plenty to still solve when it comes to Boise State basketball.
And if you are a diehard Boise State fan, which means you probably don't like the Idaho Vandals, that was quite the scenario going on at the exact same time the other night with Boise State just, faltering in the second half and Idaho starting the party in the stands there. I mean, it was quite the opposite ends of the spectrum for programs that have been in opposite ends of the spectrum on the basketball side.
100%. It was weird. And I was at that Vandal game and I was watching the Boise State game on my phone. And it was really, really, really weird. So, when the Vandals game was about 90 seconds slower than Boise State. So when Boise State ended, there was about 90 seconds left to go in the Vandals game. And, I spent those 90 seconds looking in the crowd to see if anybody was kind of, if there was like this hush that Boise State had just lost. And there really wasn't. They were all focused on that one specific game. But obviously, because I stuck around for about a half hour after that and watched the trophy celebration and talked to some fans. And obviously, everybody was kind of figuring out that Boise State had lost. And that's kind of when the crazy mix of reality, the crazy mix of emotions happened for about 30 minutes right there on that concourse at Idaho Central Arena. And then everybody walks out, gets some sleep, and wakes up the next morning and goes, what the hell just happened?
Well, as we said, disappointing end over in Las Vegas. The Broncos falling to San Jose State as 15-point favorites. In a way, we should have seen it coming, Mike. I mean, it's just kind of been that kind of season and started off with, maybe the worst loss in program history to Hawaii Pacific, ends with one of the worst losses given all of the scenarios. I mean, they've lost as a 15-point favorite before, but in a conference tournament, just everything on the line. It was, I don't know if I can quite go all the way, but it would have to at least be in the conversation again of worst losses, at least in recent, memory here in the Leon Rice era, because typically, Boise State's lost plenty of games, but typically against the very bad teams, that's one thing Leon Rice really hasn't done a whole lot of, is just lose to the really, really bad teams. And it happened again on Wednesday night, and in surprising fashion too, just hearing the players and coaches after the game talk about they wanted it more, they had more heart, they had more fight. They were the aggressor, they were the ones kind of fighting and clawing, and really thought, I wasn't sure if they'd win the tournament, Mike, but I really thought they were playing well coming in. Just did not see this coming, this game. And but like I said, in a way, with how the season had gone and the disappointment it has been and the up and down nature of it, right when they win the 5 in a row was probably about the time we should have expected it to come crashing down.
Yeah, you're right. And the day before the San Jose State game, we all spent our show talking about this team being on a roll and getting sucked into the emotions of what they are. And we never, and I don't think anybody ever went out there and said Boise State's going to play for the title. Nobody expected them to lose to San Jose State. Somewhere in the middle was going to be the reality and the happy medium, but never even got to that point. And it's probably good. I mean, let's when you need to hit rock bottom, that's when good things are happening. If you're kind of just treading water, I think that loss to San Jose State eventually is going to be a good thing for Boise State. I don't know how. I mean, we'll see how it evolves, but it just brings a serious, hard reality to the situation. And this basketball program is does need a jolt. And we thought that they had it, and we can sit here and try to define and figure out what's going to happen this offseason, but I think there's some bigger picture issues here in terms of this program, and nobody needs to panic and reinvent this entire program, but you need to have some serious conversations and some serious looks, and frankly, you need to have some serious changes. What those are right now, we all have ideas. I've thrown out a million things and spent a lot of time yesterday talking about the future of this program, but it'll be really interesting to see how it evolves over these next 100 days.
Yeah, Nathan says first time under Leon, they've had multiple bad losses in a season. They've had the one quad four, non-D1 loss, but haven't had two in the same season. So it was and again, it bookended it, started it, finished it the exact same way. And but bigger picture wise, Mike, as you said, I mean, it just whether they didn't like each other, whether they had too many guys that did the exact same thing, whether it was I don't know. It just didn't fit this year. The pieces did. At times it did. At times it looked great and bought people in, myself included. I mean, they had some beating St. Mary's. I mean, that's a really nice win. They're 23rd in the KenPom ranking. Like, they had a couple of really nice wins. They went to New Mexico and won at the pit. Like, they had a couple of really nice wins, but for every one of those, they had some head scratchers and ones that just made you wonder how it was the same team out there, frankly, in some of these games, positive and negative. And in my 13 years covering the team, it's as up and down and a team as I can ever remember, and one where you just never knew what you were going to get when you showed up. And if that's coaching, if that's players, I mean, everybody, I think, is fair game for blame and criticism here. And I think a lot of it just comes down to some players didn't play as good as you thought they would this year, and some players and pieces didn't fit the way you thought they would. And if that's, again, coaching, that's, certainly starts at the top. So I think everybody is fair game when it comes to that. I'm not going to, I know you're the same way, but you hate coming on here and just calling for people to be fired or calling for assistant coaches to tell them they should retire or move on. I mean, it's just they've got families and they're grown men, and it's just kind of a weird, awkward thing. But certainly, Mike, whether it's, something, and if it's just a shake up something, you'd have to think there's going to be some movement on the coaching staff. And I certainly think there's going to be movement to the roster because, as I said, I think Keene, I think Meadow, and I think Carmichael are all three kind of similar players in a lot of ways. And I'm just not sure this roster has room for all three of those guys. Which one is back? Which one goes? I think that's going to be interesting. And for me, the defense really was one of the surprising things this year, Mike. I mean, this has only happened a couple times of late in the Leon Rice era, but in the KenPom numbers right now, Boise State's defense actually finished worse than the offense in the ratings numbers here, and that just doesn't happen around here. The offense 67th, the defense 72nd, and that's not something we're typically seeing here. This is, if it holds, and there's games obviously the rest of the season that have to go, would be Boise State's worst defensive team since 2020. And for me, it's the on-ball defenders. It's too many guards just blowing by guys and getting to the lane. And I mean, how many 30-point games did they give up to guards this year, Mike? They gave up a lot of big scoring numbered games, and you saw it in the San Jose State game. They just couldn't stay in front of these guards. And Colby Garland, man, he'd look good in a Boise State uniform next year, just pulling up for wide open mid-range jumper after mid-range jumper. So for me, a lot of the changes I'd like to see, and I'm not necessarily saying Mike Burns needs to go, but in terms of the defense, you got to find some players that can guard the ball one-on-one. And then I'd like to see some more rim protection. They've never really had a great shot blocker type guy in the Leon Rice era, but just another Mladen Armouz, just big guy that when teams drive to the lane, that you're a little scared. You don't just have easy layups and easy trips into the paint. So a lot of issues, but for me, I would start with trying to improve the individual defensive talent on this team. And then I guess by association, scheme and or coaching, I don't know where you go from there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But for me, the defense, and I've never been an X's and O's guys, and I've never pretended to be an X's and O's guy. So that's for the experts. And Mike Burns' track record as a defensive coach for Boise State speaks for itself. A very consistent, long history of great defense. And we'll never forget the summer press conference where they introduced Dylan Andrews, and Mike Burns was taking everybody aside and said, that guy is my difference maker when it comes to defense. That guy is incredibly when it comes to the defense. That guy is going to set the tone for defense on this roster. So there was high expectations. But for me, I'm going to focus on effort and the chemistry and some of the things that I've said about this roster, which I still stand by. Everything I've said about this roster, I still 1,000% stand by in terms of the chemistry and whether these guys were working together as a unit. The defensive issues for me were about effort, and it always is. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's junior high. I don't care if it's the NBA. When you play defense, when you start defense, 51% of it starts with effort. And effort is a commitment in your mind because you're trying to help your foxhole buddy to your right, or you're doing this. And I just didn't see that. So, again, the X's and O's, somebody else smarter than me is going to have to figure that stuff out. But when I saw defensive lapses, for me, it was always about effort, a gaff here, a gasp here, somebody falling asleep for a half a second here. And it just really, really started to bother me toward the end in terms of that. And then obviously against San Jose State, the defense was not good. But San Jose State scored 80-plus points. That's ridiculous to me. It was all about effort. That is something you can fix. We'll have to see what the coaches do in terms of the personnel. But the defensive effort was a big, big problem for me this year.
Yeah, and obviously the offensive lapses at times this season too, where the offense just stood around the 3-point line and dribbled the ball. I mean, it was a weird year, and I don't think anybody on the roster, player or coach, like I said, is, you can say, oh, I got nothing bad to say about them. I mean, it was just across the board, offense, defense, and you can go everywhere. And yeah, BSU Bill says it's the backcourt, need a dynamic 1-2 punch at point guard and shooting guard, good scorers, athletic enough to defend other guards, guard play wins college basketball games. And as you said, Mike, I think they had that in Dylan Andrews. And in some games, some parts of the season, they did. He had some tremendous games. He won them some games this year, but then had too many games also where he, especially early in the season, just, was 3 of 17 from the field and just had some tough shooting games. I mean, he was kind of a microcosm of this team, inconsistent, had some really nice games and some really bad games. He did have, my understanding was he had food poisoning or some sort of serious illness a couple days leading into the San Jose game. Not an excuse, whatever, but just, just throwing out a fact. He was sick and almost didn't play in the San Jose game and was less than 100%. But, obviously he didn't play very well in the San Jose game. But the guard play, and I don't know where you are on NATO. He was a big discussion on our post-game show after the game. I think he has potential. I like some things that he does. I think they had hoped that by, he has this 1 year under Dylan, and then in year 2, he would kind of be the guy. I'm not ready to go there yet with him. I don't think you can give him 30 minutes and make him a starter on this team yet. So I think you're looking for at least 1, if not 2 starting guards, in my opinion, as Bill says here in the portal.
Oh, 1,000%. If A.G. Nato is the starting point guard next year, this basketball team's in big, big trouble. And I don't want to pile on the kid, but frankly, I don't see anything that guy did. Other than the fact that he's young, and I don't know if he's the kind of guy that can be developed. He's still kind of this mystery to me. They spent a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of resources recruiting this, flying all the way to Africa and chasing him in Arizona and whatever it took to get him. I don't know if there was even multiple trips to Africa to chase him down. At least there was one. We know that for sure. A lot of time and effort. There was a lot of speculation for a couple months, and nobody knew that he was going to really come, and here he comes. So it never really panned out, and I don't see it. To have NATO learn under Dylan Andrews, that was never going to work, and maybe that's easy to say in hindsight. And Dylan Andrews was not a mentor to me, the kind of guy that's going to go off and teach and groom young kids to go off and play great point guard basketball. So I'm not sure how that chemistry worked, but you got to go out and get yourself a proven point guard. This basketball team, guys, desperately, desperately misses Alvaro Cardenas and that kind of style of point guard. And A.G. Nato didn't even come close to that, nor do I ever see him getting to that point. So that is definitely a position of concern, but every position on this team other than Drew Fielder, I'm all for it. I said this yesterday, and I put out a tweet. I'm all for blowing up this entire roster, building it around Drew Fielder. He's the one guy that I want to keep, build a roster around him, bring in a whole bunch of other people. And after that, if you lose Drew Fielder, I'm going to be really bummed. I think that's a massive mistake if you can't try to keep him. After that, every player on this roster is expendable for me.
And I don't know his thoughts because he declined an interview request after the game. And I'm not blaming him, whatever. He was the one they paraded out there after a lot of tough losses. I get it. It's a really tough game, but it's an open locker room. Players are all supposed to be available. I did request an interview with Drew Fielder back at the locker room. He walked out, blew right by the SID who was calling his name like 4 times, and he just kept walking. They went to chase him down. They came back and said he's requested not to speak tonight. Read into that what you will. I've all along said I expect Drew Fielder to be back. I still do. I don't think that changes things, but obviously frustration for him. And you're right, but in this day and age, Mike, and with the budget Boise State basketball has for NIL, I just don't think you can literally go find 12 transfers. I mean, some of these guys have to stay.
Sure.
But But in terms of like, key players and makeup of the roster, they clearly went out and showed. You can say what you want about Dylan Andrews and whether he was worth the $700,000-$800,000 that he got. Drew Fielder, we're all thinking somewhere in the $300,000 to $600,000 range for him. I don't know the exact $400,000 or $500,000 something. Either way, they went out and got two high-profile guys and paid them good money to come. So I think you can have confidence that they can at least find more guys like that, but they've got to find the right guys, Mike. I mean, I guess how I'm trying to say it is that they've shown they're willing to spend. They've shown they're willing to give prime money to get a key starting player. You could say it worked with one, didn't work with the other. The year before, Buchanan, I think you hit on him in the portal. Cardenas, you hit on him in the portal. They've missed on some as well. So their track record's not perfect, but they have found some guys in the portal that have worked out. Multiple guys on this roster right now that they got out of the portal that were starters and key players for you. So that's going to be interesting to me is how they decide. Because like I said, Keene, Meadow, and Carmichael are three guys for me that, like, if you could mold them into one player, you'd have the perfect player. But all three of them just do slightly different things, but none of them are perfect. I think Keene brings some intangibles. Certainly doesn't bring the scoring aspect. Of the scoring aspect of those three, Meadow would be the one that you would look at and say, okay, if we need the scoring, Meadow is probably our guy. Carmichael could be the area that they look to upgrade or have him move on, but maybe he didn't have the year he wanted and he doesn't have a lot of interest and he takes a low deal to come back and you say, okay, we'll take as a 6th, 7th man for a low price. So I guess it's easy to say who needs to leave, who needs to go, but when we don't really know the money or the interest and all that kind of stuff, that plays into it. But clearly they're going to need a infusion of 3, 4, 5 new players here.
Yeah, and I want 5, 6, or 7 new players, and I want pretty much a complete overhaul. And that doesn't mean get rid of everybody but Drew Fielder. I said I wanted Drew Fielder to come back, and everybody else to me is expendable. But the reality is, obviously, 4 to 6 of those guys are coming back, and you should. This day and age, you should try to figure that out. But I'm not sure who I'd want back. I mean, they're all great kids, but they're all. As you said, I like your analogy of the 3 guys that are kind of similar, but so I certainly don't need all 3 of those guys back, and I'm not sure I want to pick one. I do get really tired of the offensive deficiencies that come from RJ Keene and the inconsistent play. A guy like that coming back is probably going to command $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 just based on what he means to Leon Rice, what he means emotionally to that locker room, all the intangibles that he's bringing, the senior leadership that he would bring back. Is RJ Keene worth $250,000? Is he worth $500,000? No, he's not. And that's where you have to make hard business decisions sometimes. So I'm not going to sit here and advocate for Leon Rice in terms of specifics. I just know that we can all see what his program wants, what his program needs. We can look at the roster and try to figure out where the holes are. None of us are that dumb. We can see what this roster looks like, and we can see the changes that need to be made. I can't wait to see what Leon Rice does.
Well, it's funny, too, the ebbs and flow of a season. There was a time, Mike, where A.G. Nato absolutely cannot lose him. And there was a time Spencer Aarons, 100%, got to keep these young guys and give them their 30 minutes a game and then build this year and then build around them next year. And again, if this is coaching because they didn't develop whatever, that's coaching then, I guess, however you want to phrase it. But I thought Nato and I also thought Aarons didn't really progress throughout the season the way that a lot of people expected. They had some really nice moments. Aaron's had that game where he had 20 points or whatever, hit a couple threes, but late in the season, it was almost hard to play him with some of the turnovers and some of the things that he was doing. So both your supposed quote unquote young cornerstone guys, freshmen to build around Aaron's and Nato, I thought both of them, I don't know if regressed is fair, but I think both of them weren't as good and didn't get to the level of improvement that you would hope by the end of the season to feel better about them going into next season.
Yeah, 100%. And there was some development on this roster, and it's hard to watch kids develop throughout the season, but there were guys that got better. There were guys that were stagnant on this team. So I get it. You don't really want to develop in season. I mean, you can and you will and you should. Most of that stuff comes in the off season, and then you can kind of watch it grow from season to season. So that's never really been Leon's strength, although I do give credit for Leon. I thought Leon had a good year this year, and he just couldn't quite piece it together. I thought he grinded pretty hard, a lot of changes that he made. You never see him stop working in terms of trying to put it all back together, the sense of frustration. So it was just a really, really weird year, and I think the one thing that we can all agree on, because there's a million opinions out there right now, is status quo is not acceptable, and you're just going to have to really make significant changes. And that may even include Jeremiah Dickey having serious conversations with his head basketball coach. So, I know that that's on the table for some fans. I don't know if that's on the table for Jeremiah Dickey, but I promise you, he's at least having that conversation in his head internally about what the hell do I do with this basketball program? He's stuck in a really difficult position right now.
And we'll get to that discussion here in a minute because I do want to get into the coaching side of this. But we mentioned this on the post-game show, Mike. Over/under current number of players on the roster right now that are starters next season. How many starters on next year's team are currently on this roster right now? And I guess the bigger picture there then, as we're talking about, is how much, legit starting caliber talent do they need to bring in to upgrade this roster? We fully believe Drew Fielder is back. I mean, that's one that I'm counting. I still believe Andrew Meadow is coming back. I believe Andrew Meadow has 3 years. He could be the wild card that says, I'm out. I got 1 year left, whatever. But I just don't know if he's going to get, the money, but more importantly, the role that he thinks he could get somewhere else. I could be wrong. He could announce today he's transferring. But if I had to, I don't feel super confident about it. But if I'm looking at those 3 guys, I think they'll bring Andrew Meadow back. I think. Maybe that's even too strong, but I would lean towards Andrew Meadow. That's 2 for me. Again, they don't have to be starters this year. Could have been guys that came off the bench this year that end up starting, but 2.5 might be the number for me. I don't know where you're at.
Yeah, I would say 2 or 3, and I wouldn't even know who they are. I would imagine that Leon Rice would take Andrew Meadow back and keep him and want him for a year. I would. I'd like to keep him now. Andrew Meadow himself, by that post-game press conference, everybody was frustrated, but just reading the body language, that dude was frustrated, man. He was depressed and down and out, but everybody was, so you can't really make any kind of decisions there. If he just wants to go off and have a 1-year experience because he's just looking for that one blip of going out in a ball of glory, then maybe he does leave. But I don't think that's a decision for Leon Rice. I think Leon Rice would keep him. So to me, it's about whether Andrew Meadow wants to stick around and stay for the role that Leon Rice is going to promise him. But yeah, I would say 2 or 3 starters are coming back. Who those guys are, I'm not sure yet.
And I'm trying to find it here. I mean, I have the video on here somewhere. It was, again, with the days here, it's kind of hard to find. But I did catch up with Andrew Meadow after the game. It was a one-on-one interview in the tunnel. And Pearson Carmichael, I don't know if I can find it right now, but I would suspect there's going to be somebody will leave, Mike, that will kind of make you go, wow, okay. I mean, I do think there'll be one, and maybe that's Meadow. I don't know if Carmichael would give you that reaction, but I do think there's going to be, it's just impossible. Especially with what you're talking about, chemistry, whatever else. I mean, there's going to be somebody that just says, I need a fresh start somewhere else. It happens at a lot of places. I mean, it's happened to the football team. No one thought Andrew Simpson was leaving. Some of these other guys, just, wow, okay, Prince Straw. I mean, it happens, guys. And on this team, you couldn't have watched this season go up and down the way it was and think everybody was perfectly happy with the way everything was going, and everybody just 100% wants to come back and do it again next year. So some of it is the coaching, too. It goes both ways. I mean, coaches can ask guys to leave or say, you're not going to play here. You probably need to go somewhere else. Some of it is players saying, I mean, people are bringing up, Chibuzo Abo. That was one that surprised some people. Abo came out of nowhere kind of and transferred to USC. That's debatable how that worked out for him. So there will be somebody, and maybe I just talked myself into that person being Meadow. I don't know. But I do think there'll be somebody where it'll be big enough that it'll probably make everybody go, oh, is it imploding? Is it caving? Do they know Leon's gone? What's going on? Like, I mean, there's, how it is, Mike, but I and that's probably a good thing, to be honest. Even if everybody but Drew Fielder, there will be someone that I think will surprise some people, and it may on the surface, on the paper, look like initially a loss. But in the end, I think that you probably do need to have some major overhaul. Change sometimes isn't necessarily easy, or maybe initially doesn't look good, but I do think that for whatever reason, just the pieces didn't fit this year. And if that means some major pieces having to leave to bring in some major pieces, maybe that's what has to happen.
Based on what Leon Rice said post-game, I don't think right now his focus is on the X's and O's of this roster. He talked about, and you heard his press conference where he was just talking about, I need to go out and find dogs. I need to go out and find grit. I need to go out and find toughness. I need to go out and find leadership. Those were all real damaging comments from Leon Rice post-game there in terms of, and he was adamant, man, dogs. He said that like 4 or 5 times. So that's just chemistry glue guys that are leaderships, guys that are, foxhole guys that are glue guys. When I say glue guys, I don't mean like a RJ Keene who's just kind of the happy to be here, kind of a glue guy. I need a dog. And RJ Keene's a good dude, but he's not a dog. He's not a guy that he brings a lot of intangibles, but he's not a dog in terms of what you want. So Leon Rice was very adamant about what he wants. He's looking for the non-X's and O's guy. He's looking for the leadership. He's looking for the moxie. He's looking for DNA of dudes who've got it deep in their heart. Guys like Leon Rice, he was a tough guy, a fighter, a grinder. I've always loved that story about shooting himself in the knee as a kid and rubbing some dirt on it and going out and playing with his buddies again. That's the kind of guy that Leon Rice wants, man. So I guarantee you that he's got a pretty good grasp on the X's and O's of this basketball program, but going out and getting that DNA dog is what this roster needs the most, at least according to Leon Rice.
Now, I'm going to edit this on the fly, so I'll try to find this. But here is Pearson Carmichael one-on-one when I asked Pearson Carmichael, are you – and it is kind of an unfair question. You know how it is, Mike. You're 20 minutes after you lost, asking a guy if he's coming back next year. Like, I understand. Like, I kind of put him in a tough spot, but I don't know when we're getting these guys again. I thought I got him one-on-one. It's at least worth getting something out of him. So I'm not taking anything they say one way or the other as 100%, whatever. They're in the heat of the moment. They're lying to the camera, whatever. Who cares? But just throwing that out there. I'll try to edit on the fly here. Pearson Carmichael, and when I asked him about next season.
How do you look at kind of what's next for you? Do you expect to be back next year?
That's my goal, is be back. I love Bronco Nation. I don't have any goal leaving here. So, kind of just want to take a couple weeks off of basketball and kind of just push this all into the past, but definitely looking forward to next year.
On paper with
all right, so I was a little quiet there. He was pretty quiet when he was talking there, Mike. But Pearson Carmichael, that's the plan. Likes it here, would like to be back. Again, it is a two-way street, but that's what Pearson Carmichael said. Does plan as of now, whatever. Here's Andrew Meadow. I'll try to find him his later in his interview.
Really frustrated.
Decided to come back. That you add a couple pieces. You guys are right there. Do you see the future is bright for this program?
Yeah, I think the future is really bright. I think we have a good core, and we got to just take this offseason, and get a lot better, and then who knows what happens.
Are you planning to come back? Do you have to think about your options at all, or?
I've been just all focused on the season, and I haven't gave anything any thought. So I've been just all Boise State, and that's where I'm at right now.
It's all Boise State. That's where I'm at. But I'm focused on the season. Haven't given that any thought. Again, easy to read into stuff, but I didn't think his answer was quite as committal as Carmichael, at least in terms of wanting it. But again, I know I kind of put him in a tough spot there, Prater. But now. The portal doesn't technically open till, I guess, the day after the Final Four. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct.
That's not stopping any schools or agents from reaching out to people. Guys will know probably before then. You can still have announcements that I'm going to enter the portal, today, tomorrow. They just can't officially be in there. They're not supposed to be talked to until then. We obviously know that's different. But did you take anything from either of those two guys?
No.
Yeah.
No, you have to ask the questions. I get it. I've been there, done that, and asked those questions myself several times. But throw that audio away. Never play it again. It doesn't mean squat. And I guarantee you, if you ask that exact same question tomorrow morning, you probably get a little bit of a different answer because the emotions of the day are going to change all the time. And so, yeah, you had to ask that question. No harm, no foul there, but zero impact in terms of what those guys said.
All right, we've talked about the roster a great deal. Let's switch to the coaching staff here in just a second, Mike. I want to thank Lithia Ford of Boise, LithiaFordBoise.com. Check them out, Lithia Ford of Boise. Newer pre-owned vehicle. Make it at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's Friday. That means the weekend's coming. Get some Sun Cruisers. Whether it's the iced tea vodka, the lemonade vodka, has a lot of great options from our friends at Sun Cruiser. Grab it at your local gas station or grocery store. ICCU. Idaho Central Credit Union, they got a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest, that mobile e-branch online banking right there in your smartphone. You don't realize what you're missing. So easy to transfer money around, to check your accounts right there on your phone. You never have to go into the branch. Make the switch today, and you'll go, wow, I should have done this sooner. ICCU, Idaho Central Credit Union. They let us down all season, Mike. They couldn't even get one more point to get us the 75-cent fountain drink today at Jackson's. They finished with 74, so the 75 deal is no longer going this season, but the 99-cent coffee deal is 99-cent coffee or hot chocolate day or night. Just type in that Let's Go Rewards phone number. Get a 99-cent coffee from our friends at Jackson's. Taco Bell, the crunchy chicken, Cantina tacos, all the great options there. The Cantina bowls, crispy chicken strips, the breakfast quesadillas. Tremendous stuff at Taco Bell. And if you're looking for a delicious fast, great meal, and affordable as well. Check out Treasure Valley Taco Bell location today, and we appreciate the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family, for their support of Bronco Nation News. And saw Travis Hawks in the first row there, had great seats at the game, and he looked at me at halftime, kind of put his hands up like, how you feeling? And obviously they were disappointed, but saw them over at Circa. They were out at Stadium Swim at the pool watching games. Appreciate Travis Hawks and company in the Blue and Orange store. The best Boise State gear, the best prices, the best selection. The official in-venue provider of Boise State merchandise is the Blue and Orange store online, theblueandorangestore.com. All right, Mike, as I said earlier, it is maybe you feel a little differently than I do, but I just have a tough time coming out in 100%. And I know it's our job, it's their job, they're professionals, we're professionals, but just to come out and 100% say a grown man needs to be fired from his job, I have a tough time doing that. And so that just always puts me in a tough spot when we talk about coaches. But I do think when you look at this roster, and they have interesting ways they could go, Mike, because I thought the offense and the defense underachieved at times this year. And as I said, I mean, Mike Burns has a track record. This defense has a track record of being pretty good, but that's 2 years in a row that the defense has not been up to standards. And is that because they don't have the players they need to run a Mike Burns style of defense? I think that's part of it. I also think offensively, they've had some really good offenses under Tim Duryea here. They've had top 25 caliber offenses at times, but this year, the offense for a good chunk of the season, especially during that 4-game losing streak there early in the season, the offense did next to nothing, stood around the 3-point line, passed the ball. I mean, you heard Leon Rice ripping on the point guards for having like 2 assists in one of the games earlier this season. So I think that you could, if either one of those guys were to leave, whether they retired, whether they went on their own, moved to a new job, either one of those, I think you could look at that and go, okay, I see why they did that. I think it's a unique spot. It's not like it's for sure one side of the ball is the problem. I think there are some issues on both sides. They have a unique situation, though, because Leon Rice, as you know, Mike, is very loyal. I mean, I believe Mike Burns is like Max Rice's godfather, or the godfather to at least one of his kids. Their families are very, very close. And even Tim Duryea has been here a long time and kind of entrenched himself the last 5, 6, 7 years as well. And Leon Rice is very loyal. And these are 2 friends, 2 veteran coaches. And I think that's a tough situation for Leon Rice to be in. But as you said, if his boss says you got to make a change somewhere, it's them or you. I mean, it could be a sticky situation here. I don't know what's going to happen. I know you said they are going to have conversations with Leon himself. I personally don't believe that's the direction that Jeremiah Dickey would go. I believe some assistant coaches would be more, but again, and I don't know if that's kind of Jeremiah Dickey's MO, where you got to make a change somehow. And if Leon's too loyal and won't do it, then he steps down. I have no idea what could happen. I think it's going to be very interesting, though, because if it's got to be one of those 2 guys, I just don't know what Leon would do. And the rest of the coaching staff, as we talked about, you've got Kobe Carl, you've got Mark Few's son, both on the staff, but not actually in like assistant coach roles. Lexus Williams obviously is there. You've got Roberto Bergerson on the staff as well. It's a unique makeup to the coaching staff. Some young guys you're excited about, some older guys that Leon's been loyal with and have had success before. I think everybody agrees, even just to shake it up for the public appeal, whatever, something has to happen. And there's a lot of different ways they could go. It's going to be fascinating here the next couple of weeks to see what happens, Mike.
Yeah, I certainly don't hope it doesn't come down to the public appeal part of it, nor do I hope it comes down to the fact that Jeremiah Dickey's having to tell Leon Rice to make some changes, or if you don't do it, I'm going to do it for you. It can't work that way. That's never healthy. There definitely has to be changes here. And for me, it's the bigger picture stuff. And I'm ready for a change with offense. I don't care if they're friends. I don't care if they're loyal. This offense, to me, and you can put out all the stats and all the analytics you possibly want, this offense is stagnant at times, too inconsistent for me. And when it comes to this offense, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I absolutely 100% want to change when it comes to Tim Duryea. And if that hurts your feelings, Tim Duryea, I'm sorry. I want a change with Tim Duryea. And I'm not going to sit here and say fire his ass. There's got to be some kind of human element into it. You have grown men conversations and say, dude, we've just got to make a change. We got to move on. You're going to be okay. You're a great coach. You're a great friend. But we've got to make some changes. That happens in this world all the time. So I think Tim Duryea definitely needs to be replaced right now, whether that's a Kobe Carl, I don't know. That seems like a good ceremonial hire. It would create some buzz and create some excitement. Jeremiah Dickey is facing one of the most important off seasons in the history of Boise State basketball. blowing up the entire Extra Mile Arena season ticket plan, upsetting season ticket holders like crazy, and then all of a sudden moving into this new Pac-12, which, the new Pac-12 is fun and it's exciting, but it's not that like it's this great intimidating basketball conference. It doesn't really do a lot for me in terms of maybe other than just the Gonzaga matchup was kind of fun. So, but you still have to play for it. You have to plan for it. And Jeremiah Dickey is trying to sell this basketball program. And the only thing that's going to sell this basketball program this offseason is buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. That's the only thing that's going to sell it. Hard work from Jeremiah and grind, but he's got to have some kind of buzz to sell to, because right now he's selling dead vultures. He's selling dead geese on the side of the road. And that's not going to work, guys. He's got to have something like, I said yesterday, and I believe this. Does Leon Rice deserve to be fired? Maybe. Do I want Leon Rice to be fired? No. Do I think he's coming back? Probably. Are they going to have serious conversation? Yes. But at that same time, you're going to have to put some parameters there and try to figure it all out, because some serious changes need to be made. So if Jeremiah Dickey fired Leon Rice and hired an assistant from wherever, that doesn't create any buzz. That doesn't help Jeremiah Dickey this offseason. Now, I've never been a big opponent for big name hires. My partner here, Johnny Ballgame, he wants celebrities and bright lights, even if they don't work out. But let's say Jeremiah Dickey fired Leon Rice and hired Bobby Hurley. Would he have something to sell? And I have no idea if Bobby Hurley is even a good coach. I just know he's a name and people would get excited. And Jeremiah Dickey would have something to sell this offseason. I got that guy. And people are kind of excited, whether we should be excited or not. So those are the tricky things that Leon Rice and Jeremiah Dickey kind of have to work out. So if you put Kobe Carl on this staff and put him in charge of this offense, and maybe even announced him as the head coach in waiting, or even if you did it unofficially, I want to groom him to be the next Boise State head coach. That's creating buzz. That is something that Jeremiah Dickey can sell in the offseason, because right now he's got nothing. He's got absolutely nothing to sell to the Boise State basketball fan base this offseason, and that's a bad, bad situation to be in.
Now, Paulie Pepperoni, and I don't disagree with anything you said there, Mike. A lot of that's very well said, and they certainly need buzz somehow. Someone said, could they hire a GM for roster construction or talent evaluation to help? And that's kind of what Few's job is.
Yeah.
But in terms of someone that's more designed just to focus on only the roster, or maybe it's a former coach, something like that. The makeup of the staff, Mike, how they have Berto, they have Lexus Williams. I mentioned behind the scenes, they've got like a Max Teams who does all the video and it helps with scouting with Burns. You've got Duryea and Lexus, I believe, teamed up to scout half the games. And then you've got, you mentioned Kobe Carl behind the bench. I mentioned that Few sits right next to Leon. This is his first year. What do you make of just the overall staff makeup and in terms of shifting role? I mean, is it as simple as Duryea's out, get a new offensive coordinator, and that's fine? Or do they need to figure out some of the other roles as well? I mean, David Moats was a guy that did a lot for this program and was somebody said they need to get a new rebounding coach. I mean, they've still finished third in the country in defensive rebounding this year. So I'm not going to say David Moats leaving is the reason this team was, but I don't also think that's fair. David Moats was a solid coach and would have been good here. And I was sorry to see him go. And whether maybe there's some other stuff behind the scenes, whatever, but in terms of just straight the rebounding, it didn't really drop off that much with David Moats leaving. So I'm not going to go there, but what do you make
with 10 days left in the season? They were the number one rebounding team in the Mountain West. Come on, guys. There's plenty of things to latch onto with this basketball program without coming up with stuff like that.
Yeah. But overall, the makeup of the staff and just the way some guys sit behind the bench, some sit on the bench, you've got, like I said, some veteran coaches, some younger coaches like Alexis Williams. A lot of people think very highly of for his career. What do you make of just nowadays with basketball, you can have the 5 assistants and analysts and all this stuff. How do you kind of just look at the overall makeup of the staff?
Well, in terms of what these guys do, you described it way better than I could. I don't know exactly what these guys do behind the scenes. I know what their titles are. I will say this. Leon Rice has plenty of resources in terms of staff. Could he have more? Could he want more? I mean, I'll remember back in the day when you were begging for a video coordinator, for God's sakes. Leon Rice was begging for light bulbs, for God's sakes. I think we've passed the point now where we're begging for resources. Can you grow? Absolutely. You can grow. And you should grow, and you will grow. And this program will continue to fight and scratch and grow. But I don't think resources are to blame anymore. They got the charter flights. They got the light bulbs. They got everything. They got their video coordinator.
No doubt.
And I see more. When I first started covering this team in 1993, there was a head coach and 3 dudes in shitty suits. Sorry, bad language there, and crappy suits. Now you got like 3 rows of assistant coaches and staffers and support and all kinds of stuff. So they've got the bodies. Leon Rice is going to be able to come back and say, okay, maybe I need to refine your role here a little bit there, refine your role just a little bit here. And that's the smarter guy, but he's got plenty of bodies.
Yes.
I have heard rumors, and I've had people high in this organization tell me that there might be some rumblings about Roberto Bergeson and his role, and is he growing and developing this roster the way he does. But I'm not going to ever say anything bad about a Boise State Hall of Famer and one of the classiest, coolest dudes I've ever known in my entire life. But maybe there's a change in his role. Maybe there's a change in his coaching status. I know he's got a young kid on this team that never plays. Maybe there's a future that for them somewhere else. I don't know. But Roberto Bergeson, you kind of hear some rumblings about. Everybody wants Tim Duryea's job, or at least a change in the upgrade of this offense. After that, I love the people that he's got. I mean, Lexus and Kobe and all the other places, all of the other people you talked about. Seems like they're really smart roles. And if Leon Rice needs to tweak or redefine some of their roles behind the scenes, that's kind of up to him, man.
All right, almost final question for you. If we're talking resources, and I totally agree. I mean, they've got so many coaches now. Bob and Abe got kicked off the charter. I mean, they've got plenty of that. That's not the problem anymore. But in terms of resources for the roster and NIL, if part of this discussion with Leon Rice and Jeremiah Dickey is, hey, we're going to give you another year. We're going to give you what you need, and we're going to try to make this fit next year. If that includes, which I'm sure it will, Leon Rice asking for more NIL money. Where do you think they sit with that? And is there a chance that they, I don't want to say go quote unquote all in terms of giving it, no excuses next year. We gave you the money, we gave you the roster, it didn't work. Or are they saying, no, we need to give football every penny we can. We're not giving you an extra penny next year. If Leon Rice asks for another $500,000 or another $1 million in NIL money, how do you think that discussion would go?
Oh, I would imagine that's already in plan. I mean, it's not like the new fiscal year starts July 1st. And so I think that those conversations, in my opinion, have already happened. Okay. I think Leon probably knows what his budget is. And we have to be a little bit careful. And I know they're just words, but Boise State's not really in charge of NIL. The NIL is kind of an outside factor. And yeah, they work with the collective and they work with others. For Boise State directly, it's about the revenue sharing money. And don't people forget that there's 2 piles of money here. There's there's the Boise State revenue sharing money, of which Jeremiah Dickey has been court ordered by the United States of America to give Boise State athletes revenue out of his own damn pocket. And Jeremiah always laughs because why do they call it revenue sharing? It's not revenue for me. I have to give him some cash. It's a deficit revenue for me. The NIL thing is, so Leon Rice comes in and says, okay, my revenue share budget from Jeremiah Dickey this year, Drew Fielder, I can give you $250,000, or I can give you a car and $50,000 and maybe pay for your housing for 6 months. Now, let's set you up with our collective. Let's set you up with our people. Let's set you up with our business donors. And you go out there and chase NIL money to enhance the revenue sharing money that Boise State's giving you.
Sure.
That's kind of how the process works. And it's very, very technical and very, very detailed. And Leon Rice already knows what those numbers are. Can they change? Can they grow? Can he ask for more? Sure. But those kinds of budgets are set in place. And I would imagine that Jeremiah Dickey and Leon Rice, they're going to grow this budget. They're going to grow the revenue share. They're going to grow their NIL network so we can get more money. And I think Drew Fielder can have a package of maybe $1 million. And when you say that guys like Dylan Andrews gets $800,000, it's not always cash, guys. It's the car. It's a year's worth of housing, which is very, very expensive.
Meals, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Meals. It's a little bit of cash. It's a package, just like Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty got a $400,000 package. A really nice blue Corvette, or maybe it was a Mustang. I think it was a Mustang. A really nice blue Mustang, a really nice place to live for a year, and a couple $100,000 in cash. That's how this all works. And I would imagine that Boise State's got decent enough resources that will continue to grow, and they can throw that money out there and reinvent this roster.
Okay, so final thing for you, Mike. I mean, how do you leave this discussion? How do you leave this season as you kind of turn the page to the offseason, the next season? Like, is it hope for the future? Is it excitement? Is it intrigue? Is it What's kind of the word? Is it in trouble? Is it what's your general feel about the basketball program at this point moving forward here?
Oh, none of those words I would use. Angst, nervousness, back on your heels, and just, I mean, right now, it's just that San Jose State loss was such an emotional gut punch. It was an emotional gut punch. And it was hard for all of us to take. We all love Leon Rice. Leon Rice is one of the fantastic human beings that lives in our community right now. He just happens to not be very good at his job right now. And that's a tough situation to be in. So I think people want to pay for Leon Rice. I think people want to support Leon Rice, and it's just not coming out and working right now. So I don't know what word, but yeah, it's a critical offseason with the new conference, with the new seating arrangement in Extra Mile Arena, which, frankly, I don't think it's going to work, but we'll see. I love people out there like the Morales brothers and Section 12 and Jeremiah Dickey and Cody and what these guys are trying to do. It's a monumental task to tell all these people we're going to blow up the season ticket sales and start over and move people around that have been sitting next to each other. It's a bad year for Boise State basketball. It's a bad offseason for Boise State basketball, and they just really need to get their grasp of their hands on it. And they're going to mope, they're going to whine, they're going to cry. Leon Rice is like the wedding singer. He's in bed in his basement right now, pouting and whining and complaining. And he'll wake up on Monday morning with a bright ray of sunshine and go out there and attack the world like he does. And I think he's going to come back. He's going to be just fine. But the future of this program is probably in doubt more so than it has been in a long, long time.
Yeah, I would say in terms of, you used the word critical, in terms of like where the program's at in this offseason, it could kind of go, it is kind of at a fulcrum, at a turning point. Like, how are they going to, make the massive change like you're talking about at the very top and go for it? Are they going to, pour in another $2 million into the program and take another shot at it? Are they going to, you mentioned the seeding and everything else going on. It is going to be a very, very intriguing next few months here as this program transitions into the Pac-12 and coaching players, a lot to figure out. And man, that's why Jeremiah Dickey gets the, I would say big bucks, but he deserves more. But that's why you're in that chair in that office to try to figure some of this out, and very intrigued to kind of see what this all looks like moving forward here. So Mike, appreciate you for coming on and your time. Idaho Sports Talk. By the way, is Idaho, I haven't seen any like bracketology brackets. Are they a 16 seed probably? Do they have to go to Dayton? Are they that bad? Or what seed is Idaho probably going to get?
I would have guessed that it's a 16. Yeah. I think that's probably what they send 2 16s to Dayton. They don't send all 4. They do send all 4.
Well, there's 8. There's 8 16 seeds. I mean, there's I guess 6. There's 6. 2 of them are actually 16 seeds, and then the other 4 have there are 2 games in Dayton featuring 16 teams. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I would imagine that's going to be one of the Vandal spots.
Because they were 7 seed in the Big Sky tournament.
Yeah, but the Big Sky is usually going to get that spot anyway.
That's what I'm saying. If you're not even, if you're the 7th seed in the Big Sky, that's Well, hey, at least they're in. They're in. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And hopefully they don't. I mean, I guess, I don't know. You get sent to Dayton, you could at least win. You're playing another 16 seed. You could get a unit for the Big Sky tournament and win and have a chance to win a game. I mean, that's have they ever won a game? They've never won a game in the tournament. Have they?
1982, they beat Iowa.
Okay. All right. There you go. Shows what I know. Well, they have a chance to get another one. So that'll be fun. Looking forward to Selection Sunday, finding that out. And then we'll wait. Nowadays with Twitter, any second there could be Boise State news of some kind with basketball related. So we'll just see who's leaving, who's staying, coaches, players, what it looks like. Mike, appreciate your time as always. Idaho Sports Talk 3 to 6 today. I assume I'll be joining you guys again 4:15, and we'll continue this discussion. And 2 weeks from yesterday was the first spring practice, so we're moving on to football here pretty quickly, and we'll have plenty of football discussion as well. But appreciate you as always, Mike, for jumping on today.
Appreciate it, BJ. See you next week, bud.
3 to 6, Idaho Sports Talk, Prater in the ball game. You can listen to them. Hey, Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, make sure you hit up Matt Bauscher and our team at BauscherRealEstate.com. Signature Roofing, if you need a new roof, whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, or an inspection, Signature Roofing online, mysignatureroofing.com. Check them out, mysignatureroofing.com. Hey, Element Fencing, if you're on the fence about that next fencing project, give Brady and his staff a call. They'll work with you from the ground up to build that perfect fencing project. Decks, pergolas, fences, cedar, wrought iron, vinyl, they got you covered. They can do it all. 25 plus years in the fencing business. Element Fencing online, elementfencing.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. Shopridleys.com. Whether it's McCall, over in eastern Idaho, Treasure Valley, they got locations all over the place. I believe 13 of them in the state of Idaho, surrounding states as well. Shop Ridley's. Find more information and location near you at shopridleys.com. Hey, rowpaint.com, 20% off those winter painting projects. Interior, exterior painting, concrete coatings. Whether it's the painter for a day project where you provide the paint, they provide the painter. That's a great option as well. Rowpaint.com, 991-0567. Check them out, rowpaint.com. And if you need a new job, how about the trucking industry? It's booming right now, and if you need it's a lot of paperwork and things you need to fill out, let the professionals help you at Transportation Compliance Service. Complete trucking compliance management, Transportation Compliance Service, transcompservice.com. You can get into the trucking industry, and they can help you out every step of the way. Transportation Compliance Service. Hey, Tom Moser, he's still cooking with another night in the Mountain West after the semifinal games tonight, and it's been mostly chalk. You do have Nevada playing Utah State tonight, San Diego State against New Mexico in the semifinals of the Mountain West tournament tonight. Tom Moser will break it down after that second game tonight. Another night in the Mountain West semifinal edition on Bronco Nation News. You can check that out tonight after the final game of the Mountain West tournament wraps up tonight, the semifinal game, and then tomorrow will be the championship game, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific tomorrow. All right, checking out some more of these comments. Let's see. John Buchanan looks like he's heading out. We hope you'll stick around, watch some shows, John. Hopefully you're let's see. Been good watching, meeting you. Thanks again. Yeah, John. Likewise. Great to. It's the one downside. You meet a lot of these players' parents and families and stuff, and then they kind of move on. But I think Javen Buchanan was a great fit for 2 years here, and hope best of luck with his career and things moving forward. And hopefully you'll stick around, John. I think there's plenty still here moving forward. Let's see what else here. Big miss on DA. He was up or down. He was definitely up or down. Overall, you could probably say didn't get the return, but I mean overall he won them some games, but certainly was inconsistent. Missed them some games as well. But I think Drew Fielder, you could say, yes, he was worth the investment. If you want to say DA for what you paid and what you got, probably didn't work out. I think that's fair. But they're going to have to go find another DA type, another veteran, proven, productive starting type guard, and that's going to cost money. So that's where it's got to start in terms of finding that guard, finding that guy. And maybe that's, it worked with Javen Buchanan. Maybe that's dipping down to the D2 level again or NAIA and find a guy that's not going to cost as much. That's just a straight baller and can go score. And the Darius Brown types, that came from Montana, State over to Utah State. I mean, I know that's D1, but just you got to find guys somewhere. And you took the UCLA hotshot point guard, didn't necessarily work out, but obviously they've got to find somebody. And as Prater said, somebody that's a dog that Leon Rice mentioned, and they've got to find that, and that's got to start at the point guard position, the shooting guard position, all across the roster. But I think you've got to find a way to, that's one area where it's got to start is you've got to find a point guard. You've got to find a point guard for this team. I don't think NATO's that guy, at least not right now. And you need one, if not two, starting caliber guards, I think. And so I believe that they've got to find a way to improve the roster in a big way. And that starts at that point guard position, and that's going to be costly. So curious to see what happens. We got all off season to break it down. We are going to transition some back into football next week. We're going to have some countdowns getting you ready for spring ball. Nathan Carroll and Chris Van Sickle both have some football stories, and we'll start posting on Monday and really dive into football season here moving forward. But we'll keep an eye on basketball. We'll keep an eye on everything that's going with them. We'll continue to talk basketball. But obviously with spring ball being, 2 weeks away, we'll really start to spend a lot of our time on spring football as well here moving forward. So Sun Cruiser Studios, appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News down here in Florida for a couple days. And Max says going to miss basketball talk. There'll still be plenty of basketball talk. We're still going to talk basketball. There's going to be a lot of news, a lot of stuff happening. We're going to talk basketball at some point, probably on every show. But we will start to talk more football as well with football and spring ball getting going here next Thursday. You got Pro Day coming up as well. But I'm going to get off social media for the rest of the weekend, spend some time with my kids. We're going to the Cardinals spring training game tonight. Although I get down here to Florida and it's cloudy and rainy today. So I guess that kind of suits me right. But spend a little bit of time with family, and we'll be back at it Monday morning and dive back into football season. But hope everybody has a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of the conference tournaments. Looking forward to Selection Sunday, finding out the brackets, and then we'll have plenty to discuss here moving forward. But I hope you guys can have a great weekend. Been a great show. Been a great season of coverage and working with you guys on the basketball side and having fun just talking basketball all season. I know the season didn't play out, didn't work out the way that anybody expected or wanted, and been no doubt a tough season. No doubt this team underachieved, disappointing year, and now it's time to kind of see where they go from here. And I think it is a critical offseason in terms of trying to make that decision to see if the program's going to stay stagnant or kind of take off. And we'll see what they decide to do in a lot of different areas. So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you Monday morning at 9 a.m. From the Sun Cruiser Studios, our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise. That next car or truck purchase, make it at Lithia Ford of Boise. Some great deals right now. You can check out their full inventory of vehicles at lithiafordboise.com. Go subscribe, Bronco Nation News. Ton of football coverage coming, ton of recruiting coverage coming. Chris Van Sickle just texted me that he interviewed a recruit and is going to post that story today. So you want the best recruiting coverage at Boise State, you need to go ahead and subscribe. Bronco Nation News, bronconationnews.com. Click the Join VIP. 50% off right now is our annual our deal for an annual subscription. So like this video, share this video, subscribe on YouTube for free, and join us at bronconationnews.com. Plenty of message boards and things there. You can chat with folks and keep the discussion going. Appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot, Sky, for the kind words. Appreciate all of you. And we'll talk to you Monday morning as we start to put basketball season behind us, await some changes for the offseason, and then look ahead to the summer and spring ball and everything else that's ahead. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you Monday. Bronco Nation News online, Bronco Nation News.